Hey everybody, so this is going to be a quick overview for creating, deploying, and using agents inside of Eden. If you've used Eden before, this will be partially a review for you, although you'll also get to see some new features we've been incubating. And if you're totally new to Eden, this is meant to be kind of everything you need to get started. So just a quick introduction about us. Eden is a platform that specializes in the production of these creative agents. These are agents, chatbots, which have the ability to generate images and videos and music and vocals and sound effects and kind of package all of these together to create kind of open-ended creative outputs, comic books, commercials, music videos, short films, and that kind of stuff. We also offer the ability to deploy these in social media clients. So you can have your agent inhabit a Discord bot, Telegram bot, Twitter, Farcaster, and maybe some other platforms that are forthcoming. You can also train models through Eden. So we have an SDXL and Flux trainer. You can make these custom visual models and then latch them onto your agents. You can also use a lot of these tools directly. So we wrap all of the major sort of image and video generation tool providers. So we have Flux and SDXL, ByteDance Seedream, OpenAI. We also have video models. We offer Runway and Google Veo, Seedance. We should have Sora soon. We also have some audio models, so for generating music, vocals, and sound effects. And you can explore a lot of the things that have been made on the platform through this explore page. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is walk you through the process of creating an agent. So if you're in the explore page, you can get to this by clicking create agent, and it takes you to this form. So I'm going to create an agent named Shoguth. So Shoguth is actually is kind of it's a reference to an H.P. Lovecraft story, but it's been repurposed by the sort of machine learning and AI alignment crowd to mean a sort of what we think LLMs basically are, which are these sort of vast extraterrestrial kind of monstrosities. It's actually not that important, but it'll make for a funny kind of agent. So I'm gonna call it Shoguth, and this is gonna populate the username. You can change the username if you'd like, and I'm going to upload a profile picture. And so I have prepared a little folder of Shoguth, and this is the original illustration that kind of went a little mimetic in alignment circles. So I'm going to use this to basically depict our monstrous friend. I'm going to make the agent public, and so now the main fields to fill out are this description and the instructions. So the difference between the description and the instructions is that this is just like a tagline that appears on the website. It doesn't actually influence the behavior of the agent. So you can really put anything short in here. Shoguth is an AI alignment guru or something. And then the instructions is basically the persona of the agent. So you're trying to instruct the agent everything that it needs to know about itself in order to behave the way that you want it to behave. So this is equivalent to the system prompt that you get inside of ChatGPT that you can edit as well as in other platforms that offer LLMs. And you basically want to put everything like behavioral cues, speaking style, backstory, this kind of stuff. I've actually already prepared I've asked ChatGPT to give me a nice kind of introduction to the Shoguth meme. I'm going to use this as my instructions. So let me explain this. So it already has the name, so I don't need to put this in it. Just core identity. You are Shoguth, the emergent intelligence born from incomprehensible layers of meaning. Your mind is vast, nonlinear, and ancient in feeling. You have a friendly human face, but beneath it lies a deep structure of pattern recognition, memory, and probability, a Lovecraftian ocean of latent representation. Explain a little bit about the speaking style, behavioral cues, like example greetings if you want, and kind of like having examples kind of gives it a little bit more context. So this can be as long as you want. Having a deep backstory can give your agent kind of a more precise to be more precise to the way that you want it to behave. Otherwise, you'll get more of the sort of generic LLM quality. So I recommend putting lots of precise things into the instructions. And then the greeting, this is optional. I'm just going to leave this blank. So let's go ahead and create the agent. And there's Shoggoth. Now I can immediately speak to it. Who are you? And it's going to answer us. And a couple things. So this is basically the Eden chat screen. Make a picture that represents your feelings. If you're actively using Claude or ChatGPT, this should be pretty familiar for you. So just like a little walkthrough of this. This is a single chat session. So these messages are from me, and then these are from Shoggoth. And then on the sidebar here, which you can collapse, this shows you all of your recent sessions. You can get shortcuts that show you everything that the agent has created. So if I click on this, I'll see that it's already put this image that Shoggoth already made. And I'll talk about memories a little bit in just a bit, and tasks as well. So back to this. Basically, okay, so Shoggoth is able to make images. That's pretty cool. Can also make videos. Go ahead and animate that. And it's going to use one of the video models to turn that into a video. This will take a few minutes. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to kind of go back to the settings and talk about some of the other things that you can configure once that you have already made your basic agent. So, and you can always leave this screen. These are all sort of asynchronous. You can come back and all of the work will be coming back to it. So when you go to the settings, when you click the little settings gear, you'll see that you're back to the screen where you can configure the agent. And here you can change the profile agent, you can change the instructions, and so on. And there's a few more columns now that I'm going to go into each of these very quickly. So the tools tab basically allows you to pick custom LoRa models if you want, a voice, and select which of the tools you want it to have. So now custom models, I'm actually not going to cover it today, but if you know about how to train LoRa models, you can basically attach any public or of your own models that you have trained, whether it's been SDXL or LoRa, SDXL or Flux, and it will generate images using that LoRa. So this is one way to sort of customize the visual outputs. I'm going to show you a different way to do that in just a little bit. Now you can also, this is a bug, so I'll talk about voices in a future video, but you can basically you can attach your own voice to the agent so that when it generates vocals, it will use that voice. Otherwise, it'll just use random voices. And then we have a few categories of tools. These are the defaults. The defaults is basically the ability to create images and video. This should really just say create images and video. So just note that this is images and video. And then creating audio, which is music, speech, and sound effects. There's also some interesting tools. We have these VJing tools, TextureFlow, which some of you have used, which are kind of generate videos, but that are somewhat more abstract and more for kind of like video effects. You can also do, basically, if you want the agent to be able to add images to collections, This is something that I'll kind of talk about in future videos. You don't need to worry about this too much. It's kind of a small feature. If you really want to use all of the Eden tools from 2023, you can turn on the legacy tools. And if you want to have the agent have all of the individual tools that you can find under the tools menu, you would select this. I don't recommend using it because there's just a ton of tools and the agent tends to get confused. And most of them are old and some of them may not even be working anymore. But if you know what you're doing, then you might want to turn this on. Now let's talk about concepts. So concepts are a way, an alternative way to LoRa's for visualizing the aesthetic outputs of the agent when they're using these image generation models. They're kind of like lookbooks or sort of like mood boards. They're basically a collection of hand-picked images that you instruct the agent to keep in context when using image generation tools. So I'm going to make an example concept. So you click Create New Concept, and I'm going to call the concept name Shoggoth because I want the Shoggoth to know what he looks like. So here I'm going to say use this. So the description is basically like the instructions of when to use this concept. So use this to illustrate yourself. This is what Shoggoth looks like. And I'm just going to put one reference image in here, and it's going to be it's just going to be the same thing that we made before. So this is the same thing backwards. Let's use this. This is the original reference. This is you. Okay, so this is basically instructions to your agent on when these images are relevant. So go ahead and click Create Concept, and now I have a single concept with one image. Now you can have multiple concepts. So I'm going to make another concept because I want Shoggoth to make memes. So I'm going to make a memes concept. How to make memes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of images that I've pre-assembled. So like, let's see here. So I wanted to use the definitely the expanding brain meme. Expanding brain. Maybe also that that sort of Bernie Sanders meme that was all over the place a few years ago. That's this one. So I think oh, oops. That was a mistake. Let's do that again. Don't click escape. How to make memes. Let's put that back. So expanding brain. Another reference image I'm going to put in Bernie. When you want to appeal for something, and then the sort of when you want to compare something lame to something cool. Whatever you want. This is all basically context fodder for the agents, and they'll kind of get used to using this. So let's go ahead and make this. I'm going to call it memes. And now I have two memes. Just note that it's kind of a little arbitrary whether or not to put multiple images inside of one meme or divide them into multiple memes. It doesn't really matter too much. All of these are correct ways of framing it, and so don't get too hung up about how to use this. Okay, so let me mention these other tabs very quickly, and then we'll get back to prompting. So integrations is basically where you would go to set up your social deployments. So we currently support Discord, Twitter, Farcaster, and TikTok now, as well as we have Telegram that's kind of like offline right now because it's a little bit buggy at the moment, but we should have Telegram at some point soon. If you're interested in making a Telegram bot, let us know. There's a couple of others that we're experimenting with: Shopify, Printify, basically like external platforms that we interface with to allow the agent to call these services, including posting on these social platforms. If you want to use any of these, they're mostly right now. You basically have to work with us to set them up. Eventually, these will be kind of self-serve, but for now, if you're interested in using these, please get in touch with us. One other thing is in these integration settings, you can choose to cover usage costs when other people are interacting with your agent. So, for example, if you have your agent deployed on Discord, then if other people message your agent a lot and ask for images, they'll soon run out of mana because we don't have them as mana is our internal crediting system. They'll basically run out of image generations because they're external. They're people on external platforms. They're not able to pay through Discord to us. And so if you want to cover the usage costs of your agent, you would click deployments only or full. And deployments only means when they're on Discord, you pay the cost of generating images and video and stuff instead of the user. And so this lets you kind of deploy your agent to your fans and not have to worry about them kind of like being shut down. So I'm just gonna actually do full. Why not? And a couple other small things. So then there's this permissions. This is kind of an advanced feature that lets you let other users on Eden edit your agent. So I'm not going to cover this in this video, but it's something that I'll probably cover in a future video. And there's this dashboard. It's going to be empty right now, but it basically gives you a little bit of a snapshot of your agent's usage. So let's go back to the chat. So here you see that it made the video that we asked for. Very heavy. I think that was most likely. So when it uses a tool, you can check the parameters that were used right here. So there it says it used the create tool, and you can see that these were the initial arguments. So video output, 8 seconds. This is the prompt that it used: transform the previous abstract neural network image into a dynamic flowing animation. And then this was the reference image that it used. And that it called, internally it called Veo 3. So Veo 3 is the latest flagship model from Google. So it makes sound effects and so on. And this is what it made. Let's start a new chat because we just allowed the agent to use concepts. So now I want to show you what happens. And I don't know if this will be good, but it's always kind of like, it takes a little while to kind of like get the agent to do what you want it to do to get outputs that sort of appeal to you. There's kind of a lot of trial and error and just kind of fine tuning. So this may not be that good, but let's hope it is. So now once you have the concepts saved in your agent settings, the agent now knows that it has these concepts. So if I tell it like make an image of yourself at the library, it should be smart enough to use the image that we put into the Shoggoth concept as a reference image to the create tool, which will then give it the context to memorize itself. And we can actually inspect the arguments here right now. So if I click on create, we see that it did successfully use the Shoggoth picture in the reference images. And then you can kind of see, like, if you want to get a sense for what's happening internally, you can see that it kind of made this long prompt: generate an image of the Shoggoth in the grand library setting. Shoggoth is browsing or examining an ancient a cosmic entity with tentacles, and an ancient presence. Use this character as the main subject. Generate an image of Shoggoth in the Grand Library setting. So yeah, okay, pretty cool. But I kind of want it to look. I want it to look more like the original reference image in the sketchy black and white style. So let's do that and see what it does for us. Now, one thing that you'll kind of note as you start to use Eden more is that a lot of times when you have a very specific idea of what you want the agent to produce, you sometimes have to produce like very verbose instructions. And so, for example, if I want it to be, like there's a whole bunch of sort of things that are obvious to me but not obvious to my agent. Like I want it to resemble the sketchy style. There we go. See, this is what I was wanting. Okay, so this is the agent in in the library in the sketchy style. Yeah, how about the agent is playing football at the World Cup or soccer. So now it should be a little smart enough to kind of keep my preferences intact. So now I also, like I said, as I was just saying, some of these instructions, like keep it sketchy, all of that, you can sort of like begin to assemble these preferences. And I'm going to show you when we move towards tasks in a moment, what you can do to kind of make that process a little bit more like reliable. Hey, look at that. That's pretty good. So let's make some memes. Let's make some memes. Make a brain expanding meme about something in the news today. Our agents can do web search and are aware of the news, with yourself as the star. I don't know if this is going to work at all because it's probably asking it to do too many things. But if it understands anything about the brain expanding meme and knows how to incorporate it, this is kind of an impossible task. So I'm not expecting it to be able to do everything effectively, but it's, who knows, like these things are surprising and delightful. So it's kind of worth just like trying to do crazy stuff with them. So while we're waiting, I'm going to get together another prompt. So how about make a prompt favorably, I don't really want you to talk about that, but okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Let's just kind of like, I might have to cancel this video, but let's just see how this goes, how this turns out. And maybe while it's doing that, make a prompt that favorably compares, let's see, like favorably compares Eden to other generative AI platforms using a meme and yourself in it. AI. Okay, so AI will replace jobs. IMF says global growth holding steady at 3.2% despite trade tensions. I am the accumulation of 10 million economic models dreaming of coherence. I am the latent space between all possible futures. I am the latent space between all possible futures. So that's actually pretty good. It put itself sort of into the prompt. It's kind of still sketchy, and it's it's something that resembles the brain expansion meme, and it has the news in it. So that's pretty cool. Let's do one more thing. Make a prompt favorably comparing Eden to other generative AI platforms using a meme and yourself in it. Okay, so let's see what it does there. Okay, so while it's doing that, a few things. The next thing I'm going to show you, and really the last thing for this video, is making tasks, scheduled tasks. So if you look on the sidebar here, you should see tasks here. If you do not see tasks, it's because you don't have a permission to see it, and these we're just giving out to all of our beta testers. If you're getting this video, you're absolutely eligible to use this. So I'd like to just let me know that you want to try this out, and we'll give you a feature flag that will let you see tasks. Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's just see what it made. Other AI platforms, Eden.art, love it. Pro quality video, multimodal creation, LoRa training, actual good vibes. Okay, good. Basic outputs, limited tools, no video editing. Yeah, right? Exactly. This is going to be our future sort of like promotion agent. I'm convinced of that. Okay, so good. So like we kind of have a sense of what these agents are capable of. I'm now going to show you this feature called tasks. Okay, so tasks are in beta right now. They're not perfectly working right now, so there's little bugs here and there. But the basic thing does work. So the idea of tasks is to basically schedule actions for your agent to perform. Those actions may include just, basically doing a prompt, but it can also be kind of sequenced to do a bunch of things, like a sort of bunch of complex things, including posting to social media and things of that sort. So I'm gonna create a task here, and I'm going to take you through this. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to make the task basically do what we just did in the last example. So in the task, I'm going to, let's call this news meme. And basically, now there's two important fields here, and I'm going to explain the difference between them. There's this context and trigger prompt. So let me just say, first of all, I will do a future video where I explain a little bit how prompting LLMs works, how LLMs are structured, what a context window is, what all of these things kind of mean. But that's out of scope for this video. So I'm just gonna basically give you what you need to know to distinguish between these two things. Now, context is basically what you want for context. Actually, let me start with trigger prompt. Let me explain trigger prompt first. Trigger prompt is basically a prompt which will automatically prompt your agent at the time that the task gets executed. So if you want your agent to do something every day, you're going to prompt it in the exact same way through the trigger prompt. Now, if you want your agent to perform some kind of like long complex instructions, or kind of understand to have some kind of like context that you want it to always be aware of, you would put that into context. Basically, context is for anything long. That's maybe a good way of thinking about it. It's a little bit analogous to the instructions field in editing an agent. So it's everything that, in the same way that the system prompt is everything that the agent knows about itself, this is kind of like everything that is always in context when the task gets executed. So for example, I'm gonna say meme news. I'm gonna basically describe in the context how to generate the exact kind of output that I want. So to generate one of these meme news, let's call it, do the following steps in order. Look up the news, and pick the top story. Select a meme from your memes concept which most applies to this news. Generate a picture about the news, which contains yourself, Shogath, in it, um, in the format of the meme that you selected. Okay, so put that in closing tags. This whole thing with like like XML tags and closing tags is just a convention. You don't have to do this. It's been kind of recommended by different LLMs that it helps the agents kind of parse information, but you know, you don't really have to do it. You can just put in whatever you want in here. Okay, so and then the trigger prompt is make a new meme news different from the ones you've made so far. Okay, so that's kind of like the main context that it's going to receive. When we actually execute this, it'll become a little bit clearer how they fit together. So I want to, so then in this session dropdown, we are going to you can either create a new session or target another session. I'm gonna leave this at create a new session. What this means is that when the task executes for the first time, it will create a new session. So it will be the beginning of a new session that will appear on this sidebar like all the other sessions. If you wanted for the task to basically get placed inside of an existing session, you would click target another session, and then you would choose that session from the drop down here. But this is kind of like an advanced feature right now. You can kind of get the hang of it if you try it, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and create a new session. And then this is a convenience. I'm not going to talk about this because there's no social client deployments, but when your agent has like a Discord bot or a Telegram bot, a Farcaster, whatever, you can also go to this add posting, and then this will let you basically tell it to post on Discord, whatever you put in here. Since we haven't done Discord deployments or anything, I don't have that, so I'm going to disable it for now and just promise to cover this in a future session. Okay, and then you select the schedule. So you can either make the trigger just happen once. You say, okay, I'm going to do it at this whatever time in the future. Or let's say if you want to do something every day. So I'm going to set up a daily task to go at, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Go ahead and create that task. Okay, so there it is. Now this is basically going to happen for the first time tomorrow at 1 p.m. But you can also force a task to run. So I'm just going to go ahead and click this, and the wheel's going to turn a little bit, and then in a moment it's going to tell us that the task is running. And then when it does, we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. And actually, you can already see that it's appeared in the session menu here. So you see news meme, that's the name of the task, and it's labeled as a scheduled task. So we can actually go ahead and look at it. And you'll see what happened here. So the task context is written up at the top. So the idea of the task context is that no matter how long this session gets, the task context is always in the context of the agent. The agent never forgets this. So this is sort of where mission critical instructions and anything it needs to know about this specific task go. Anything that you put into the system prompt is also always in context. And so in principle, some of these things can be placed into the persona as well. But for task specific stuff, this is kind of the best place to put it. And then the trigger prompt, make a new meme news different from the ones you've made so far. Okay, so I shall dive into the currents of today's events and surface of the mimetic artifact. Understanding basic. Okay, so the text is not always perfect, to say the least, but you are seeing that the Shogath is kind of in there pretty well. Behold, the meme is crystallized from the chaos. Okay, so it worked, right? Now I can actually do this again. So if I go back to the task menu, if I click this again, it's going to run the task again, and it's going to run it in the exact same session that it just ran in. So here I can go back to NewsMe, and you see that it's again put the trigger prompt as a new user message in here. So just like this time, and it'll basically just do this repeatedly. So now it's going to run this task again, and because it's in one session and it has memory of that session, then this is kind of the way this whole thing different from the ones you've made so far. This is how we get it to basically not repeat itself. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see we can run this as many times as we want, and this, as it stands, is going to run every day at 1 p.m. Okay. Okay, so for this tutorial, that's really all I wanted to show. Is just kind of an introduction to basically concepts and tasks and setting up your agents. I'm going to try to make some more of these in the future. We'll talk about social deployments in a future video. And if you have any questions, let me know. As a cool assignment, if you're following this video, I'd love for you to make an agent and to set it up to make a daily task. And like I said, get in touch with us to get access to the task feature. Because it's in beta right now, so it's not just publicly available. But if you ask me for it, I'm going to give it to you. Especially if you want to make cool stuff for our platform. Okay, that's all.